Good morning, friends, families, all of you out there in Facebook land. Now is the time to worship. So maybe we should sing it, huh? Let's sing now. Come, now is the time to worship.
Just as you are to worship, come, just as you are before your God, come, come. One day every tongue will confess you are God. One day every knee will bow. Still the greatest treasure remains for those who gladly choose you now. Come, now is the time to worship. Come, now is the time to give your heart. Come, just as you are to worship. Come, just as you are before your God. One day every tongue will confess you are God. One day every knee will bow. Still the greatest treasure remains for those who gladly choose you One day every tongue will confess you are God. One day every knee will bow. Still the greatest treasure remains for those who gladly choose you now. One day every tongue will confess you are God. One day every knee will bow. Still the greatest treasure remains for those who gladly choose you now. Come, now is the time to worship. Come, now is the time to give your heart. Come, just as you are to worship. Come, just as you are before your God. Come, 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 come.
Good morning, friends, families, all you out there in Facebook land. Pastor Jim Beard here from the Bethel of Mound Church here on the edge of the Twin Cities here in Minneapolis. We are glad that you are worshiping here today. You have come to the house of God, which is the meaning of the word Bethel. And so that makes you the beloved children of God. No matter where you might be tuning in from, know that you are family here and you are beloved by our Lord. Today we have more of our series moving on towards Lent and Easter, and we're glad that you tuned in and are part of this journey with us. Before we get into all that, I just want to make mention of a couple of ways that, during Lent it's a good season to also be thinking of others and to be giving to those in need. One is probably, I don't know if it's just Minnesota or across the lands, but March is usually a food shelf month, and it is here. And many times there are matching funds or matching donors that want to say, hey, if you give this, we'll give the same amount. So many times this is the month that they can really expand and fill up their shelves for a great many months. So I encourage you to give to your local food shelf as we are collecting here as well, both canned goods and financially. Remember, food shelves usually have sources that they can stretch dollars sometimes 9-10 times with the buying power than we can. So keep that in mind as well. Secondly, we just have a family here in the church, and I want you to keep looking for families around you that may need your support. McEnany's have this darling little Parker who has had so many health issues. There is now a GoFundMe page just because of all of the expenses that go with this, and it's been going on for, what, a year and a half or so. This is devastating, and so give to the church here if you want to help them as well. If you give to the church, I just know you save any processing fees that sometimes get also worked into things. But whatever you do, give. That's the main thing. Support families around you with the tangible gifts of love this season. All right. Here's a story, though, to get us started today on our Lenten journeys. It's about a man who was hired to paint lines on a newly resurfaced road. Okay? Interstate type of highway that wasn't quite open yet. He's painting lines, and the first day he painted 109 miles, and his supervisor was quite impressed and praised him and said, hey, keep that up, and you'll be getting a raise pretty darn soon. The second day, though, he was only able to do less than half of that, and come the third day, he was only able to do like a mile, at which point, at the end of the day, he was fired. Yeah. So when he, checked in and he was told this at quitting time, he said, well, it isn't my fault. He's muttering as he walked away, shaking his head. I mean, I kept getting farther and farther away from the paint can. Oh, I see. Yeah, sometimes it is necessary to go all the way back every time, all the way back to the beginning to accomplish things. But sometimes we need only take the supply with us, and such is the way with the water that Christ gives. See, in our lesson today, a woman keeps running back to a well, okay, for water. And Jesus tells her that deep within her she can have a source of living water, life-giving water that is never going to run out, water she can take with her. But to do so, she must face herself beneath the surface. Yeah, indeed. This series is entitled Beneath the Surface, and like an iceberg, our being has much of it below the surface. It's about going deeper into our discipleship and meeting Christ there this Lenten season. And, bring forth all your, shall we call it, the beneath the surface stuff to Christ. See what life that might bring to you. So that's where we're headed today. But as we are moving into that, let's just have another song that I think will help set the tone for us today. Sing it with us, and sing with your hearts. Fill my cup, Lord. Water, 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 water is the dominant motif of the texts today for this Sunday in Lent, uh, leading in various ways to reflection upon our humanity and divine grace together. Yeah, it's from the Gospel of John that we read today, and you will hear a story about, like I said, of Jesus at a well. It is in an area called Samaria, and we'll probably be recognizing how thirst can be both physical and beneath the surface, much more spiritual as well. And at first, the conversation between Jesus and a woman it doesn't seem to have any promise, why should this even be taking place? The two are distanced by race and by gender and by religion, and there should be no dialogue going on. But then a phrase with double meaning opens up the conversation to things beneath the surface. And Jesus gently challenges the woman to speak the truth about her life. And when she finally does, her dried up soul, so to speak, is set free. So as you listen to this holy encounter today, ask yourself, what might Jesus be asking you to name and bring to the surface in order to bring living waters to your soul? Here now is John chapter 4.
He came into Sychar, a Samaritan village that bordered the field Jacob had given his son Joseph. Jacob's well was still there. Jesus, worn out by the trip, sat down at the well. It was noon. A woman, a Samaritan, came to draw water. Jesus said, "Would you give me a drink of water?" His disciples had gone to the village to buy food for lunch. The Samaritan woman, taken aback, asked, "How come you, a Jew, are asking me, a Samaritan woman, for a drink?" You see, Jews in those days wouldn't be caught dead talking to Samaritans. Jesus answered, "If you knew the generosity of God and who I am, you would be asking me for a drink, and I would give you fresh, living water."
The woman said, "Oh, sir, you don't even have a bucket to draw with, and this well is deep. So how are you going to get to this living water? Are you a better man than our ancestor Jacob, who dug this well and drank from it, he and his sons and livestock, and passed it down to us?" Jesus said, "Everyone who drinks this water will get thirsty again and again. Anyone who drinks the water I give will never thirst, not ever. The water I give will be an artesian spring within, gushing fountains of endless life." The woman said, "Sir, give me this water so I won't ever get thirsty. You won't ever have to come back to this well again."
He said, "Go call your husband and then come back." "I have no husband," she said. "That's nicely put, I have no husband. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you're living with now isn't even your husband. You spoke the truth there, sure enough." "Oh, so you're a prophet. Well, tell me this. Our ancestors worshipped God at this mountain, but you Jews insist that Jerusalem is the only place for worship, right?" "Believe me, woman, the time is coming when you Samaritans will worship the Father neither here at this mountain nor there in Jerusalem. You worship guessing in the dark. We Jews worship in the clear light of day. God's way of salvation is made available through the Jews, but the time is coming, it has in fact come, when what you're called will not matter, and where you go to worship will not matter."
It's who you are and the way you live that count before God. Your worship must engage your spirit in the pursuit of truth. That's the kind of people the Father are out looking for. Those who are simply and honestly themselves before Him in their worship. God is sheer being itself, spirit. Those who worship Him must do it out of their very being, their spirits, their true selves in adoration. The woman said, I don't know about that. I do know that the Messiah is coming, and when He arrives, we'll get the whole story. I am He, said Jesus. You don't have to wait any longer or look any further. What in the world is this woman doing? I mean, first of all, she's drawing water at noon. Now, if any of you have ever labored out in the hot sun, you know noon is not the time, or early afternoon. I mean, the people know when it's okay. It's not March. You know, maybe that this should be talked about, but you know, when it's the heat of August and it is hot, and that's the kind of climate they're in. You start early as a construction person, as a laborer, as someone who's got to walk how far to get to the well to draw water and bring it up. I mean, this is not the time. The people would come at dawn or maybe at dusk, but not at the noon hour time. What is she doing? Why is she gathering? Could it be that, well, could it be? Yeah, we could guess why she's there at noon, because 5 husbands and another, well, she's living with somebody who's not her husband, another live-in boyfriend have earned her, say, a reputation. Maybe what this story is going for, maybe not, but we can think of in those terms because, yeah, we know, and we can imagine the stares, the whispers, the turned shoulders, oh, look at she's here again, you know, the turned up noses. You can sometimes feel that, and you know that feeling. Perhaps she has heard these words that have been kind of like dropped in the dust around her feet, that she's supposed to maybe not really hear, but really hear. You know, those things like, oh, she is such an undesirable, such an old hag, she's been dumped again. She's an adulteress. She's a slut. Whatever word you want to use, they're not meant to build up. What in the world is this woman doing, drawing water at noon and talking to a Jew? Oh my goodness. Now there's another level of interest. She's a Samaritan, okay? And Jesus is a Jew. All right, they do not talk. This is sort of like the two sides don't come together. The Hatfields and the McCoys, you know, the Confederates and the Union armies. I mean, kind of from the same cloth and yet at each other. Now, you got to realize if you're from Samaria, that goes way back in history. That has years and years of prejudice that goes with it. It all starts when Babylon came along, conquered them, took them off, scattered them throughout their whole region, and then later on, different emperors would say, okay, you can go back, we can repopulate that area again. But they have for generations now been mixing with, is the whole point. You've been mixing with these others, you know, and now you're coming back, and you are this mixed breed, shall we say, that have come back. You are not the true line of Israel here with all its clout. Let's just put it that way. Perhaps she has heard these ethnic slurs going on too, besides her own personal attacks. Here's this about being, oh, you're from Samaria. You're this religious ingrate. You know, you're an idol worshiper. You are a second-class Jew. You're part of that people that prostitute themselves before other gods. What in the world is this woman doing? Coming to the well at noon, talking to a Jew, And she's doing it next to an historical marker of the Jewish faith. Yeah, oh yeah, Jacob, it said. It's ancestor Jacob, like let's go back to George Washington or all these founders. Really, you're gonna talk about this, huh? Yeah, Jacob is said to have been able to draw up the water from this well without having to draw it up by hand. He dug it out, and it just kept, according to legend at least, this living, bubbling water rose to the surface. It's basically an artesian well is what we have, if you know what those are. They are the ones where, yeah, the land works in such a way that as the water table beneath the surface rises, it has this outlet, and it just flows and flows and flows and flows and flows from all over the place. This is fed. So we have this image of this is the place where clear, clean, ever-flowing water was present. It makes me think how we've got artesian wells all over the place. Just go to your kitchen and turn on the faucet. You've got clear, clean, ever-flowing water, hot and cold, by the way, which we sometimes take for granted, just flowing in what looks like and feels like and is like a never-ending supply. Wow. So now you got to go back to that historical picture. Yeah, a source of life in this arid land, water flowing constantly. Oh my gosh. What a place. What a sacred place. Especially in Jacob's day, and because where was the water, and it's running freely. So maybe it's not running freely right now. Now we're told that you got to take turns. You got to bring your bucket. You got to throw your bucket down, and haul it up every day. And all the women, this was probably the women's jobs or the children's jobs. We would pick this up and bring this back to your houses, however far they may have been. A bucket of water. I mean, how much water do we use a day? And think about how much they had to haul, and probably still do in many parts of the world. A bucket of water can do what? Maybe your laundry, maybe a sink full of dishes, maybe flush your toilet. Yeah. Think about how limited a bucket of water feels like. Yeah. Water. Water is it's going to come from Arabic word, and it means luster. Luster and splendor. Now that's an interesting sort of set of root words. It is often used to talk about jewelry, luster and splendor, especially the luster and the the glimmer, the shine, the transparency of fine jewelry. So the implication, of course, the parallel that is being drawn is that water is nature's jewelry. It sparkles like diamonds in the sun. The very elixir of life. We all recognize that water is a source, is a resource that, we all need too. Living things need it for health, for strength. You ever watch these survival show people? They'll tell you. They'll warn you, they'll talk to their students and say you can probably go without food for a long time. Some of them, I think, said up to a month, But if you don't have water, and depending on how hot it is, it's hot there. If you don't have water for the day, even at its best, if you don't have water for like 4 or 5 days, you could be done. It is that important. And we can't just subsist on have a little sip. Here's a little Dixie cupful for you. No, you're supposed to have like 6, 8, glasses a day for your health. We still hear these things. Drink lots of water. It's for your health. Got this jug with a handle with all the numbers of how much you're supposed to drink. I try to convert it to coffee. My wife says that's not a good idea. I drink lots of coffee, but I go through the water, but I keep thinking, wow, that's a lot of water that my body needs. And so make the parallel here, of course. Our souls need what? in plentiful amounts every day, not just a little sip. You need all this water. This is why we need, I think, to continue to tune into church, go be church. Remember, it's not the location, it's you being church with others. I don't care if you're tuning in right now, but then go be church, not in isolation, be church with the neighbor just down the road and your friend over at the coffee shop. Be church together. As one man recently put it to me, I come here, as he was talking about Bethel, of course, I come here, I need to soak it. I need to soak in it. I need to be surrounded. Just to be surrounded by this community of grace gets me through all the troubles I'm facing. What in the world is this woman doing? She's doing the best she can. She's doing the best she can physically. She's doing the best that she can socially, relationally, spiritually. She's doing the best that she can. She desperately drinks in one relationship after another. And each one, however, apparently leaves her dry and empty. Is it really the woman's fault, we might ask, that she is so thirsty? Thirsty for what, we might imagine? Well, thirsty for respect, thirsty for someone who cares about her, thirsty for love that comes not because she has begged him to do something nice for her, but because it just pours out naturally from him like an artesian well. Wouldn't that be nice? Just what kind of husbands were these fellows anyway, we might want to ask as well. When you have to draw love, you ever have this? When you have to draw love out of somebody with great labor on your part, only to get a little cup full of attention that barely lasts the day. Wouldn't you get tired too? Better believe it. Wouldn't you be looking for more? I need more, too. I need more. And when the love rations you're given are sparse and gone, I'm still thirsty. And so here comes Jesus. Jesus simply asks her for a glass of water. Then the woman's response tells him more than she realizes. And although he only gets to see the tip of her iceberg, as we're saying these days, Jesus knows quite a lot about her. Yeah, look at that beneath the surface that is there. You look dehydrated, he says. You are so dehydrated, you need... Well, even not water, you need other things. She's dehydrated from a lack of grace, I would say. She needs a glass of unconditional love poured for her, the elixir of life. And nobody seems to give it to her. Not her husbands, not the community, not the church or synagogue she attends, obviously, which is supposed to be the font of, living God. So here Jesus comes along and offers her what she so desperately needs, living water. And in response to Jesus' words about living water, this woman shows just great enthusiasm. I need that drink. Let me have that. What was it that Jesus gave that had such an impact? Was it maybe just who he was, his respectfulness, his caring, his vulnerable need, I'll break through these barriers to talk with you, ask of you. Was it just his eye contact? Was it the fact that he even bothered to spend time with her at all in the heat of the day? Was it that he called her by name? I mean, we're told she's just the woman at the well, but I'm sure she had a name. I have a feeling Jesus found out what that name was. I think he used that name like a friend would. Tell me, what was the name of the last person who served you at a restaurant? Well, what was the name of the checkout person at Lund's or Jubilee last time you went grocery shopping? What was the name of that person who helped you online at the help desk when you needed assistance? Did you bother to find out? Did you use the name? You know, although the world passes and doesn't name the woman at the well and all the others out there, Jesus pays attention. I imagine thanks them personally by name for everything. By the way, I'll let you know, the waitress at the restaurant I was at last Thursday, her name was Stephanie. The checkout young man was named Mark at the store, and Kay is the one who helped me online when I was dealing with payroll issues. I pay attention now too, and I encourage you to pay attention as well. Grace. Grace, the unconditional acceptance, this unconditional respect, and this love. This is grace from God, and Jesus was the ultimate one in living grace, giving grace, being grace, pouring forth the very stuff of God without even being asked. Like an artesian well. He is the living, breathing artesian well of God's grace. There's a new image for you. God, Jesus is my artesian well of God's grace. Yeah, poured out of him endlessly. So in a world where grace was all blocked up, it was all dried up, it was all contained or lacking because of fear, because of sin, because of whatever reason, pride, in a world where grace was doled out in small little portions, where people are thirsting for more and more of this, thirsting to death, and all they are handed is a little Dixie cup of water. You know, here comes Jesus with more life-living water than you can imagine. That you can drink from endlessly, more of God's love that you could ever need. So much grace, more than you'll be able to carry with you down whatever highways you've got to keep going down. Keep on going. Take the grace with you. Never worry about having to run back to get more. It is going to be always with you. Yeah, our spiritual health depends on the constant rehydration that only this living water can bring to our souls. How much do you need? How about I pull out my cup full? No, my 2 gallons full. No, how about I give you a whole jug full? How about I give you a hose full? How about I give you an ocean full? How much do you need? It's all there for you. God's grace is an endless supply. The supply of grace goes on and on and on.
You told the woman on the other side of the tracks, the one we work so hard to step around, that we must worship God in spirit and in truth. And for those who seek this, there is living water, which quenches the thirst of the soul. Yes, through this broken woman from the wrong family, the wrong town, who'd sought to drink from all the wrong wells, we learned a desperate truth about ourselves that we hadn't come to terms with yet. Our souls are the parched and dusty land of the wilderness. Our wells are the beds of all the wrong passions. And our desires and dreams will always leave us thirsting until we drink from the water of the one living Christ, who is Jesus. Amen.
I'm going to lead you into a time of prayer, but I'm just going to invite you also to remember to be giving to those causes or other areas where you see God at work. Now's a good time to be about the work of God, with God, and give generously. So do that. It was 3 Sundays ago. If you tuned in, you may have heard me talk about one of my favorite authors, Henry Nouwen, and how he would speak to us about being the beloved. The beloved. And so for our prayers this morning, Nouwen's reflections on being the beloved will start us off again. And it echoes well, I think, the soul of the woman at the well, and maybe with you too. Following that, there'll be a short time in which you can just have some personal reflection, maybe a minute or two of prayer. Keep that in mind, and let us hear Nouwen's words and then be open to Christ directly. Beneath all my seemingly strong self-confidence, there remains the question: if all those who shower me with so much attention could see me and know me in my innermost self, would they still love me? That agonizing question, rooted in my inner shadow, kept persecuting me and made me run away from the very place where that quiet voice calling me the beloved could be heard. I think you understand what I'm talking about. Aren't you, like me, hoping that some person, thing, or event will come along to give you that final feeling of inner well-being you desire? Don't you often hope, oh, may this activity or relationship fulfill my deepest desires? But as long as you are waiting for that mysterious moment, you will go on running helter-skelter, always anxious and restless, always lustful and angry, never fully satisfied. You know that this is the compulsiveness that keeps us going and busy, but at the same time makes us wonder whether we are getting anywhere in the long run. This is the way to spiritual exhaustion and burnout. This is the way to spiritual death. Well, you and I don't have to kill ourselves. We are the beloved. We are intimately loved long before our parents, teachers, spouses, children, and friends loved or wounded us. That's the truth of our lives. That's the truth I want you to claim for yourself. That's the truth spoken by the voice that says, you are my beloved. Listening to that voice with great inner attentiveness, I hear my center words that say, I've called you by name from the very beginning. You are mine and I am yours. You are my beloved. On you my favor rests. I have molded you in the depths of the earth and knitted you together in your mother's womb. I have carved you into the palms of my hands and hidden you in the shadow of my embrace. I look at you with infinite tenderness and care for you with a care more intimate than that of a mother for her child. I've counted every hair on your head and guided you at every step. Wherever you go, I go with you. And wherever you rest, I keep watch. I will give you food that will supply all your hunger and drink that will quench all your thirst. I will not hide my face from you. You know me as your own, as I know you as my own. You belong to me. I am your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your lover, and your spouse. Yes, even your child. Wherever you are, I will be. Nothing can separate us. We are one.
Are you hurting and broken within? Overwhelmed by the weight of your sin? Jesus is calling. Have you come to the end of yourself? Do you thirst for a drink from the well? Jesus is calling. Oh, come to the altar. The Father's arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Leave behind your regrets and mistakes. Come today, there's no reason to wait. Jesus is calling. Bring your sorrows and trade them for joy. From the ashes, a new life is born. Jesus is calling. Oh, come to the altar. The Father's arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus Christ. Oh, come to the altar. The Father's arms are open wide. Forgiveness was bought with the precious blood of Jesus Christ.
Just letting you know of a couple things. In case you're connected with this community and you recognize these names, we'll be celebrating the life of Norma Babbitts tomorrow. And the following week, someone from our Mound, West Tonka here community has approached us for a funeral here. His wife says they have attended Hennepin Avenue United Methodist for many, many years, but wanted to hold the service out this way. So we'll be celebrating the life of David Cross also, and that'll be the next Monday. So this Monday it's Norma's celebration, and then the following Monday will be David's. Both of those have a visitation that starts at 10, and a service at 11, followed with the receptions, etc. So come and support those families if you can. Speaking of support, we are happy to announce that our Project Ag Grad student, which we've been talking about for several weeks here, Vanessa, has had her baby. There, isn't that a precious little one? There you go. The baby's name is Nael. I don't know any details. She or he looks very healthy. I'm not sure even if Nael is a little boy or girl, but she covered in Winnie the Pooh, which makes her special. Whatever gender she is, we just are so happy to be supporting Vanessa. I want to let you know that all that is going well. Next week also, we have something special that's happening here on site. Our district superintendent is coming by, Cynthia Williams, and she'll be speaking to the crowd. I have had an extremely busy week, and so I have not figured out exactly what the 8:30 service is going to be, or if there is one. Keep tuned in. We'll try to figure something out if she can be present or tape something, or if what are we going to do? I'm not sure, but we will. We may or may not have service next week, depending on how it all comes together. So, patience with us there as we are just working through life together and figuring all this out. But if you are in the area, sure, come listen to and meet our new district superintendent, Cynthia Williams, and stick around for lunch afterwards. I just want to thank you for being the church, far and wide. And I sort of alluded to this at the beginning, but your presence matters. And I want you to know it's not like it's mattering to us or to the institution. It matters to those for whom you're in contact with. And whether that means you are tuning in now, but you still have people to connect with. Your presence means a great deal. Don't think of it always like, what am I getting out of it? Sometimes, like I said, like that gentleman says, you might not know it, but I need to come and just be in your grace. I need your grace to help me get through what I'm going through. You never know when a stranger's going to walk in the door. You never know when the waitress at the counter needs your grace, your presence. And so I just want to always remind you that when you go forth, you carry Christ with you. In some ways, you carry the living water with you. And so remember that, okay? When we join the church, we think in terms of, I'm here to offer my prayers and my presence, my gifts, my service, my witness. Presence means, yeah, I'm there. I'm there as Christ in so many ways to those who are around me. So, near or far, just know that and be Christ to others. Be grace to others. Okay? Excellent. All right, there is a song I'm just going to send you off to. It's by Lauren Daigle, and it's one of those where she's talking to God. And it reminded me of the woman at the well. When I'm at my lowest, "Hold on to me" is her song, her prayer to God, and I know God does. So if you need a little more holding, I encourage you to find that link. Go follow it, and Lauren Daigle is the artist's name. "Hold On to Me" is the song, if you're looking it up. Be blessed by it. And know that from your house all the way to Bethel's house, to the house of God, and all the way back out again, there is this grace that connects us, a grace that I hope you will carry with you. Don't ever run dry from it. Go forth, because it's an artesian well of love that's there for you always. Go forth in peace. Amen.